In today's Money Watch, we look at one economic indicator that could hit home in the presidential election: the high cost of buying that first home and living the American dream. This may feel almost unattainable in key battleground states like Arizona, where would-be buyers face housing shortages and high interest rates. Ed O'Keefe spoke with some first-time buyers in the Phoenix area.
This election year in key battleground states, the keys to a first home may feel further out of reach.
Most normal people are pushed out of buying.
Whether housing, whether you're renting, everything's increasing.
Oh, it's outrageous right now. At this point, we're saying that we're probably not going to be able to move.
The housing market, up almost everywhere, is especially hot in Arizona.
Finish the sentence for me. The cost of housing is
too high right now. There's no question about that.
And Nathan Claiborne isn't looking to buy a home. He sells them as a realtor in the Phoenix area.
And affordability is certainly the issue here. Your police, your teachers, your firefighters, they can't afford this house.
Or this one he showed us with 3 bedrooms.
All new flooring, all the fixtures are new.
Listed for over $500,000.
this might have been 20, 30, 40 years ago a starter home.
Yeah.
Now this is the end goal.
This is a move-up home. Yeah, absolutely.
In part, Claiborne says, because a lot of buyers are moving in from out of state. Now, only 2% of Arizonans say housing here is very affordable, while 42% tell a recent CBS News poll it's very unaffordable. Like those we met at Goodwood Tavern in Scottsdale.
You guys doing okay over here?
Joshua Snyder runs the bar. He's 45 and is closing tomorrow on the first home he's owned.
Did you get everything you were looking for?
I think we did.
But it took years of looking as prices kept going up.
I feel like it jumped 40% in 3 years.
Our poll finds 88% of Arizonans say buying a home is harder than it was for their parents.
So my parents were my age. They owned a home and had been for a couple of years.
Laura Newkirk's parents helped her save for a down payment.
I think we're on our 4th or 5th offer.
And you've come up short each time.
So far.
So Ryland Tuttle and Kelsey Graft moved in with family to save.
Is it easier or harder to buy a home now than, say, it was 4 years ago?
Harder.
Definitely harder.
And Claiborne agrees.
It does seem increasingly like it's out of reach for a lot of people.
It doesn't just seem out of reach. It is mathematically out of reach for lots and lots of people.
Out on the campaign trail, President Biden, former President Donald Trump, they hear these concerns. They've been talking about concerns about the price and the supply of housing. And notably, every one of those voters we spoke to in Arizona says they haven't made up their mind come November, but the issue of housing, how much it costs, whether there's supply, will be a big factor in who they ultimately vote for. Nate, perhaps not surprising they haven't made up their mind. After all, they live in a battleground state.
You're right about that. Top of mind for everyone across the country. Ed, thank you. The American dream.
Oh, God.
It's a nightmare for some people.
It's a nightmare for most people. And one of the big issues that Ed touched on is people with blue-collar jobs, cops, firefighters, nurses, they can't live in the neighborhoods where they're working. And a great example of that, Archie Bunker, All in the Family, that house is in Queens, still there. I went to that neighborhood recently. I just was curious, asking people. There's no dock workers, taxi drivers, regular people. It's all doctors, lawyers, tech workers now. That's the change.
Yeah,
That's the change.
There's a big push to live in urban centers now as opposed to suburbia.
Gotta fix it.